Hi everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome today to this connection with the root chakra in the physical week of the Sagittarius month. So today, maybe if you see me a little bit tired, it's because I am really tired, but not because I didn't sleep well. It's just because I have been invited to eat, and I ate a lot, and I just finished eating 40 minutes ago. So I'm really full. So if you see me with this face, like I'm doing the digestion. So let's begin. So today the topic is Africa, the great continent. So some people sometimes made a mistake believing that Egypt is in Middle East, but just a tiny part of Egypt is in Middle East, which is the Sinai Peninsula. The rest of Egypt is in Africa. So, so today we are talking about Africa from Africa, at least. Today I wrote about this in the blog, so I invite you to see the blog. So even though I wrote a lot about it, what we are going to do is to make a summary of this continent related to ourselves. So let's begin with this idea. I wrote today about antipodes. The antipode of a place is basically the exact place in the opposite side of where you find yourself or some spot. So in a sphere, an antipode is the opposite side of one spot. So the most known antipode in the world is the North Pole and the South Pole. Okay, so North Pole is one spot, and the antipode, it means the opposite side, is the South Pole. So from the Arctic and the Antarctic, those are antipodes. So that's why that's the most known antipode. So if I move the North Pole and I start to move around a sphere, it doesn't matter where I go, I will always have an antipode around a sphere. Okay. So of course you have heard about this in the cartoons, that when someone is doing a hole in the ground and they appear in the other side, there's China. But it's not like that in every part of the world, of course. The only two countries where you can dig a hole and appear in the other side in China is Argentina and Chile. Those are the only places of the world where you can do that. But the most curious thing is that if you look into the map, not many places in the world are antipodes. Not many countries are antipodes. So one of the real strange things about an antipode map is that the biggest territories in the world of countries that matches exactly as antipodes, the biggest territories is China and Chile, Argentina. Those are the only bigger ones. So the other territory that is exactly straight like this, yes, is Spain and New Zealand. Spain, Portugal, and New Zealand. Okay, this is the only territory that matches exactly in the whole country. So the other countries that kind of touch the whole territory, but they are smaller territories and many islands, not continents, is Peru, Bolivia, and Ecuador, which touches the islands of Indonesia, Indonesia, and then Paraguay with Taiwan, and Brazil with Philippines. But they are mainly islands, so not much territory to compare. The rest of the territories are mainly oceanic and tiny islands. Also, other territories that touch themselves from the other side are northern Canada, northern Russia, in Siberia, with Antarctica, but they don't really leave anyone there. So it's not as difficult to say this is affecting humans, basically. It's just that. So the curious thing now is that the rest of the continents matches exactly in the oceans. So, for example, we have the entire North America fit exactly in the Indian Ocean. The Australia fit exactly in the northern, in the north of the Atlantic Ocean. Part of Asia goes all in the South Atlantic, and part of the Pacific, and all Africa and Europe matches exactly in the Pacific Ocean. So basically, there is no continent being the antipode of another continent, and that's a curious thing. So the curious thing about this polarity is that every continent will match exactly with water in the other side. And this is like a balance thing. This means we have in one side earth and air, and in the other side we have water and fire. And fire because of the volcanoes in every island. So this polarity, these antipodes, are kind of creating a balance between the four elements. So this also talks about a world looking for balance. So the reason why I wanted to explain about the antipodes is because the importance of Africa. Sorry. Wait a moment. Is the importance of Africa, because the antipode of Africa is the biggest ocean of all, the Pacific Ocean. The Pacific Ocean is a really big tectonic plate that has no continent on it. So this means that all the other continents were connected, united once all together, and in exactly the other side, we can find this big ocean where there's nothing, okay, there. So I don't know if you have seen anytime the map of Pangaea, but I invite you to see one in the internet. Look for Pangaea map, and you will show you will see it better. So when you see the continent of Pangaea thousands and billions of years ago, you will see that Africa is the center of all the continents. When all the continents were together, matching each one of them, in the center there was Africa. Okay, so Africa was the center of everything, of Pangaea. Pangaea comes from the Greek pan, which is everything, and Gaea, that means earth. Okay, so Pangaea is all the earth, all the lands together. And of course, in the other side, we have this great ocean. So all the seas were together. So in Greek, everything is pan, and seas, oceans, is said thalassa. So pan thalassa is the great ocean in the other side of the world. So all of it was connected, was together. So Africa is the center of Pangaea, and exactly in the other side, in the opposite, we have the center of Panthalassa. So which today is the remains of Panthalassa is the Pacific Ocean. So that's the reflection. So watching this map, we can see that Africa is basically the continent that pushed all the islands from around towards itself to create this great continent, and then pushed back, expanding outside, creating the continents around. What this movement tells to us. See? So this movement of expansion and contraction is exactly the same as we do as breathing, like the universe is doing with the galaxy, with the universe, everything. The Earth, through thousands of years, do exactly the same with the continental movements. I don't know the word in English. So when the continents basically move around. So the expansion of the continents, separation of the continents, and they come back again. Okay, once and again, this movement through thousands of years. So this means that the seed of life, from where everything comes to be sown and create a seed, and then expands to create around, like this forest, that origin is Africa. So just to have this idea, we are not coming from the monkeys, okay? We are not coming from the how do you say apes? Sorry, we are not coming from apes. Okay, we are coming from the hominids. Okay, there's a lot of people saying we come from monkeys. No, we don't come from monkeys. That's another root of history. Okay, so we are coming from. So the monkeys are coming from the apes. Okay. And we humans are coming from the hominids. Hominids. So both of them, we come from a common ancestor. They come from common ancestor, but it's not apes or those things. Okay, it's a thing that was before. Okay. And I say this because we humans have evolved in Africa. That's why Africa is so important for us, because we started in Africa, but not as monkeys, but as hominids. So So the hominids started in South Africa, in the region of the south part of the continent. So from there, they started to migrate north, following the lakes of the eastern part of Africa, and they reached Ethiopia. From Ethiopia, there was this big leap of evolution on humans, and they started to reach northern territories as never before. It's been like 2 million years that the humans were living only in Africa before the hominids, the different kinds of hominids were living in Africa before they started to expand through the other regions. One of the main regions that they went through is the Sahara. But the Sahara was not like today. It was not this desert that we know today. The Sahara, it was much more related with the Sahel. Sahel is the southern region of the northern part of Africa, in the countries of Ghana, Togo, Benin, Nigeria. All these territories that are in that part of Africa is called the Sahel, and the Sahel means the Sahel is green, has lakes, and so on. So the rest of the continent was like that. It was all covered with all these green fields and big lakes and trees and so on. So all these people moved and lived in the Sahara during a long time. Okay, and by the other side, they went to the rivers, the Nile, Tigris, and Euphrates in the Persic Gulf, and in the other side, the Indo River in India and Pakistan. And there is where the Homo sapiens sapiens starts to appear. So now we are going to see why Africa is this seed that helps the world to activate its Kundalini. Remember that the Kundalini of Africa begins in Turkey and it goes all around the mountains of the world, ending in Patagonia. But why Africa is not inside that Kundalini? Okay, so now we're going into that. So Africa has its own Kundalini energy. Africa represents the root chakra. Africa is the seed, so is the gym also where the fire of the Kundalini starts. Africa is the ovulus and the spermatozoids that creates life, that get together and creates the life. So from the roots, from the power of earth, it starts to create this energy, this engine that moves all the energy up. And without the energy of Africa activating this, we wouldn't have the flow of the Kundalini around the planet. So Africa is related to the sexuality, to the root chakra, to the genitals of the world, and it's also related to the roots, to our ancestors, to the ancestors that brings the nutrients in order to be able to grow and to flower. Okay. So remember, Africa is related with the root chakra, so the sexuality. And in our genitals is where the energy is created in order to push the energy up, to push the energy above, and connect to the spiritual world. So look what we're doing in our path. We are not starting from the genitals going up to bring the energy from the earth into the skies to the spiritual world. What we are doing is totally the opposite. We are going from the crown chakra to the root chakra, downloading the spirit into the matter to bring that consciousness here. Because usually what we do is to use the Kundalini energy to bring all the power of the genitals towards the mind, the head. And we go into the mind or the spirit, saying that we have to leave the body behind in order to connect with the divinity or with the mind on the top. So when we do that, we take all the energy from the genitals in order to create ideas, mind, and go to the spirit. So this is the same thing that we did in history. As more spiritual or more mental the civilization begins to be, much more energy we take from Africa. So remember now that what we are doing basically unconsciously is to take all this energy from Africa as we take this energy from our own genitals in order to go to the heavens and forget about this earth. When we are unaware, when we are unconscious, and we want to escape from this reality, we want to go to the mind, we want to go to the divine, what we usually do is to take all the energy we can from this matter, from this reality, to use it in order to enlighten and go above into the heavens. So the image that we have is that when we are conscious about all this, we use the sexual energy to create all this energy going up, but it doesn't go up to the skies. It just gets into the crown chakra and opens, creating this torus and nourishing again the low chakra, the root chakra. So it creates the spinning. So it's feeding back the energy of the own machine. Otherwise, when you just use this energy and just go up, you waste your energy. Someday you won't have any more energy, because this is like, for example, using a rocket, okay, and you use it only once because you put all the fire and you create this all fire below, and it goes up, and you waste all the fuel that you had, and someday, somehow, you will lose this potential and you will start to fall down because you have no much fuel. No fuel at all. That's the image. So why Africa is suffering so much? Two reasons, but one of them is that nobody is paying attention to Africa because we are using the energy of Africa to go up. But the only way in which you can go up is by paying attention to Africa, because Africa is the continent that gives us the energy to go up. So this is why the Atlantean civilization used this energy of Africa, because the Kundalini of Africa begins in South Africa, going up through the limits of the tectonic plateau between Western Africa and Eastern Africa. From that crack of the plateau, the energy starts to move from the lakes Malawi, Tanganyika, Albert, Victoria, and it goes up through the valleys of Ethiopia and Eritrea, and it goes down in the ocean, in the sea, in the Red Sea, ending in the Sinai Peninsula. So all this energy is also connected by the river, the Nile, of course, from the Lake Victoria going up towards the Mediterranean Sea. So this is why the Atlantean civilization used this energy of the Nile to create the conscious civilization to go all over the world, because they understood that Africa is the continent that pushed the Kundalini up in order to go to the whole world. That's why the pyramid, I am here in the pyramid, and I am in this region because the pyramid is the summary of all the energy that comes from the Drakensberg chain of mountains in South Africa, going all straight from the south to the north, and it's here in the pyramid where all this information of the seed starts to be concentrated. Okay, and from here you can go to Turkey and start to spread all the energy through the world. That's why I'm here. That's why we choose this place. So the reason why we have so many problems in Africa, according to the first reason, is because it creates so much energy that all the rest of the countries that are looking through the mind, they use the energy of Africa in order to sustain their own beliefs and way of living. So this is how do you say in English? Exploitation. This is an abuse, basically. It's an abuse of energy and matter and everything. So yeah. And also because Africa represents the sexuality, the first will, so the childhood, the first seed on being created, also is reflecting the problems that we have in the world with this abuse on the child, sexual abuse, sexual control on others, abuse of power, etc. So basically, Africa is the reflection of what happened in the whole humanity. So the second reason of this continent, of the suffering of this continent, is basically innocence. And innocence is not only related to be the victims, because the energy is from the childhood in this continent. So it's not about the innocence of being the victim of everyone. It's also the innocence of not knowing what we are doing, what we are using. So that's why from innocence you can do a lot of harm. Okay, a lot of pain. You can create a lot of pain. So the reason why Africa is suffering is not just because outer reasons, but by the same innocence from the same territory. So innocence is not only for example, a kid is innocent when it does something wrong, because it has no idea what is good, what is bad. It's just testing. It's just practicing what is good, what is wrong. So it's also innocence that you had no idea how it was. Okay. So that's why the same population creates a lot of pain, because of innocence. The second reason would be that the weather and the geography of Africa made the population of Africa to survive better than in any other continent, because was always hot, so they were able to move around. They had not limits in between each other. They were all tribes, and they were sharing and going all around without any limits. So all these groups moving around Africa had a very different way of organization than in Europe and Asia because of the cold. In Asia, in Europe, the weather was so hard, so strong, related to the cold, that that they had to create civilizations. They had to create an economy, armies, to take care of the territory. So they started to basically protect their regions, and they created civilizations to defend the only things that they could harvest in those lands. So they were trying to to survive in such a way that took them to evolve through thousands of years in civilizations, okay? Which is totally different from what happened in Africa. In Africa, it was too much land, and they could move around, they could migrate, and there was no problem with that. So this created a concept in Africa that made them live from nature, not depending from anything else than nature. And that was the advantage that the European people had on Africa, over Africa, by taking control, taking power on Africa, because they were just tribes moving around. So it was easier to control them. So that's why in the past centuries, Africa has been living this abuse of other countries, because they hadn't the practice on creating their own systems. And in the last 100 years, they just received all the systems as the republics, democracy from Europe, creating countries that had no sense in Africa because they cut everything, so no reason. And they inherit systems that they had no clue how to. They had not the opportunity to grow themselves, to create their own system. That was the problem. They couldn't create their own system. So, so the power of Africa will come back the day in which they will be able to recreate their own system again. So remember that what we are doing is to download this information from the spirit to live plentifully in the matter. So if we follow the path of the Kundalini towards the spirit, now the Kundalini is attaching to South America, so changing the way of seeing. And if we in South America are able to change the perception of the world, so we can be also able to connect with the divine in Antarctica, which goes straight to Africa again by the Taurus. Okay, so Africa will rise up again only if in South America we do our job to come back to the spirit. And of course, Chile, Argentina, and Uruguay are the countries that must see into the other side, which is China, Mongolia, and Siberia, to take this information from the other side, which is the I am, and do it in a different way, to correct the essence of the I am from Asia and put it in a new vision in South America. To change the vision. I guess that we will need like, I don't know, 200 years more, because you all know how we Argentinians are. So Chilean people is much more revolutionary and aligned to manifest things, but we will try to make a great team. I don't know. So let's go to the information for today. The vibration for today is Tho. The statement for today is, I am the celestial fruit. There's a mistake here. Is the celestial fruit. The code for today is conscious. And within that oceanic current lies the being that learned how to swim. The one that became aware of the current strength and the deepness of the ocean. And instead of letting itself being drowned by them, uses the forces on its favor. Being conscious is seeing the surroundings clearly, without escaping from it, learning how to use it in favor of a common good. This way, the swimmer knows when and how to use the current, how and when to get out, respecting the ocean without being swallowed by it. Let's go to the alignment. Sit comfortable, focus on your breathing, and remember that your body is the summary of all the animal kingdom, and through your path, bringing consciousness to this path, you help all this kingdom to find its own enlightenment. I remember that I found myself over the rock in the center, in the core of the great Australian desert, watching the horizon with its light blue and white colors in a celestial sightseeing. And I feel attracted by the sound of the African animals. Take a deep breath and go all over the ocean until you see the shores of South Africa. Observing behind the hills the great savanna, full with lions, elephants, zebras. As I watch beyond, I see the forest, and I remember that is the origin. Under those trees is from where the first hominids started to walk through the savannah. The same hominids that I was one. And walked through all my history. This is my origin, Africa. I observe the Great Lakes going to the north, and the rainforest of the Congo. Far away in the shores, I can see the great Lemurian island of Madagascar. Going north, behind Tanzania and Kenya, I find the Africa's Horn, the great desert of Tanzania, of Somalia, and Ethiopia. All of them surrounding the great interdimensional window, the Lake Victoria. And from this window, I find the origin of the Holy River from Uganda, crossing to South Sudan and Egypt, coming also from Ethiopia. The white and the blue rivers joined in Khartoum, creating the holy river Nile. The axis and the spine of the conscious world. And I contemplate this river surrounded by the greatest and biggest desert of all in the world, the Great Sahara. At the north and west, I find the Atlas Mountains, shaping Morocco, ending in the sea, the fractal of the 7 continents of the world, the Canary Islands. Take a deep breath and feel the strength of Africa within me. I breathe harder and harder as I light the fire that connects me with the genitals and the roots of the world. I am the land of the sun. I am the land with no cold. I am Africa. From me emerges the seeds of all humanity. I am the origin. I am the celestial fruit. I am the celestial fruit. I am the celestial fruit. I am the seed. I am the roots of the world. I am Africa. Take a deep breath, and softly I begin to bring this consciousness all over my body. And each one at its own time, open your eyes. Thank you everybody for being there another day. And as always, see you tomorrow at the same time.